Hi, I'm Patty Gard with the Jesuit Retreat Center, and with me today is Father Bernie Bush. And Bernie, tell us a little bit about your background.
My background is I've been in the Jesuit order for 68 years. I've been a priest for 54 years, and I came here to the retreat house in 1993, which is 26 years ago. So I've been working here in retreat work and spiritual direction for 26 years, and have enjoyed every single minute of it. I love it here.
That's great. And I understand you were one of the founders of the Pier program?
That's correct. We started a program here 10 or 12 years ago, the Pier program, with the intention of training people to give the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius. The original intention, as they said, was to train people to give what is called 19th annotation retreats, which are extended retreats that go over 9 months. But we came to the conclusion that you really had to train people to give the spiritual exercises in all of its forms. And so there are many different ways and formats of giving the exercises, and we train people over a 3-year period to do that. And that's not only religious people, but lay people and religious and priests and others who want to and feel called to give the exercises of St. Ignatius, to give retreats.
Now I understand you've got an interesting episode in your life where you were a priest at Alcatraz.
Yes, and when I was a scholastic, a seminarian, I was teaching at St. Ignatius High School in San Francisco, and the chaplain of Alcatraz, Father Jim Tupy, was also teaching on the faculty of St. Ignatius High School. So one day I asked him if it would be possible for me to go to Alcatraz with him just to see what it was like, because I was curious about the prison. And so he asked the warden, who is Paul Madigan, if I could go out there with him, accompany him to the prison. And Paul Madigan, who is a good Irish Catholic, probably figured that the seminarian wasn't going to hurt his prisoners any, and so he gave me permission to go to the prison with Jim Tupy. So I went out there, and he said Mass, and of course I was scholastic, so I wasn't a priest yet. But then after Mass, we went out into the yard, and I spent a couple of hours out in the yard walking around, talking to different prisoners in the yard. And and while he did his ministry with the prisoners there in Alcatraz. And I did that for 4 years, off and on, for probably once a month, every 6 weeks. I would go to Alcatraz and visit with the prisoners. And I got to know almost all of the prisoners at Alcatraz. There were only 175 of them, so it wasn't hard to get to know everybody over that period of time.
And I understand you're a movie star because of that. They did a documentary.
Well, I don't know about movie star, but they did, a documentary crew came out from New York and actually filmed one of the reunions. They had a reunion every year after they closed the prison back in 1963. They had a reunion every year, the Park Service did. And so a documentary crew came out and spent quite a bit of time recording our stories, the fun things that happened and the funny things that happened in the course of our time at Alcatraz.
That's great. So you've been coming to the JRC for quite a while now.
Yes.
Can you tell us kind of what your experience has been and what your takeaways have been from the place?
You know, my experience here has been extremely gratifying. All I can say is that this is basically a place of peace and a place of happiness. And the people who come here, there's a whole variety of people come here. I would say there's no such thing as a typical retreatant. People come here with all kinds of needs. Some people have, very profound spiritual lives, and they come to kind of get their spiritual life checked. I had a spiritual director one time that said those kind of people come to talk to you about their prayer life, and all you do is check the flight patterns. And then you have other people who come here who hardly know whether there's a God or not and need to learn something about prayer. And so all of these people and everything in between get their needs met, so that we have the opportunity to teach them how to pray. Even Jesus' disciples came to him and said, "Teach us how to pray." And so he taught them how to pray, and that's what we do here too, in a whole variety of formats. Short retreats, long retreats, and just simple spiritual direction. People come here once a month or once every 2 months to get their spiritual life checked.
Well, we say here that retreats change lives. How have you seen some of your retreatants change by being here?
I think that almost everybody who comes here changes for the better in some way. People come with needs, people come with burdens of one kind or another. I say sometimes, you could come here for a retreat after 2 weeks on Waikiki in Hawaii on vacation, and you come here and you're still tired, because there's a kind of spiritual tiredness that people carry because of the life that we live in this world, which is full of burdens and tensions and anxieties and worries. And people bring those in here and bring them to prayer and find that those burdens are shared by God, and that they don't have to carry them themselves. And that's all part of the peacefulness of this place and part of the grace of this place. It's kind of a shrine. It's holy ground. And people meet God here in a way that's consoling and supportive. I say sometimes people have told me they come crawling in here and they go flying out. They leave their burdens behind. And that's been a very, very broad experience of different people with different needs and different cares that come here, but they're able to shed a lot of the burdens of life and then go back out into the world and bring that peace to the world. It's not just to make somebody feel good here, but it's really to make them into like disciples or apostles, to go back to the world and to bring that peace with them.
Father Bernie, thank you so much for sharing your time and your experience here at the JRC with us. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Mhm.